guys, welcome back to the tip of the iceberg. I am the iceberg himself, DJ Iceberg, and today we are jumping back into Star Trek Voyager Season 1, Episode 2. Now, as you guys know, I've been doing something new here recently, so we're going to do it here as well. If you would like to skip the intro, please go ahead and skip to this time, and it will get you right into the reaction. But for those of you sticking around, let's discuss a few things here real quick. Of course, we've only got through one episode. We got to see pretty much the entire cast. Oh, there is somebody. We haven't met Seska yet. I know she's going to be coming up, I think, in this episode. But we have met the crew. I wonder what the conversation, though, was to figure out what department they would be in. Did they have to test? It really didn't cover that. I would have liked to have seen that. It could have been a question of, let me ask Chakotay. He'll tell us what department they each need to be in. But we don't know. All we know is that they weren't on the ship, and now they are, and they're in uniform in the departments they're going to be in. Not going to talk much before because I want to talk more during the commentary itself. So, again, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell this way you can be notified anytime I post a reaction, commentary, or the like. And for now, let's jump into Star Trek Voyager Season 1, Episode 2, and this one is called Parallax.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
I love how they use this stock footage of Voyager, like it continues to be the same one throughout. I think until season 5 or 6.
She hit me is what happened.
Your nose is broken in 3 places.
She is part Klingon.
She wanted to realign the lateral plasma conduit. I told her that would cause an overload. As usual, she wouldn't listen.
As usual, she wouldn't listen. So how many times have you argued with her before now?
She pushed me away from the console. I pushed back. Next thing I knew, I was lying on the deck with blood pouring down my face.
Touched her.
She said, sorry. Maybe you should go to sick bay.
At least she gave you some good advice. Now, hold still.
Just bam.
Don't worry, Lieutenant. I'll take care of this.
You keep that woman out of my engine room and everything will be fine.
His facial reactions, priceless throughout this whole series.
Where is Ms. Torres?
I've confined her to quarters.
I would like her moved to the brig until formal charges can be filed.
Formal charges?
I think this says a lot about where they are.
Come on, Tuvok. We're 75 years away from the nearest court. You really going to hold her in the brig for that long?
Yeah, Chakotay's got a grasp on it.
That is a court-martial offense.
She's a Maquis, and in the Maquis, sometimes you have to push people out of your way to get things done.
Ms. Torres is no longer a member of the Maquis. And with all due respect, Commander, neither are you.
But the Maquis, see, here's the thing. The Maquis were not around for that long. So saying that the Maquis do things this way, like, since when? Like, how long have you guys been deciding this? Like, the Maquis only came around within the last season of Deep Space Nine.
Sir, we heard what happened. What are they going to do with B'Elanna?
Yep, the first image of Seska. That's what I thought she came into.
We heard that Captain Janeway is going to put her in the brig for 2 months, and that all the Maquis are going to be restricted to quarters when they're not on duty.
Ladies and gentlemen, fake news.
That if things do get out of hand, we're ready to back.
And the reaction to fake news.
No! Mutiny! Mutiny!
My reaction was somebody knocks on my door.
You are if you're going to be chief engineer of this ship.
Right.
This is not another example of my twisted sense
You
of
know,
humor.
it's funny that he has this kind of backing for her, but even regardless of the relationship that he has or currently has with Seska, none of this backing was for her. I'm like, Now, there was a comment made about how this was originally on UPN, and I remember when it was on UPN. I didn't know it was their flagship. I didn't know it's what they started with. They banked on this to be one of the best shows there was. But had it came a series sooner, I think it would have done better. Like, had it premiered on TNG and then started, I think it would have done better. But at this point, like we discussed in the comment section, it was just the same old rhetoric. It was the same, here's another starship, you're doing this. Now, the premise of this is a great idea. Them lost millions of miles away, and yes, as it's aged, it's got a better reputation. So I'm happy to see that. But yeah, had it been sooner.
we don't get more power to the warp drive, we're all gonna have to get out and push.
What about alternative energy sources? Ensign Kim, have you had any luck getting power from the holodeck reactor?
Does it look to anybody else as if behind her you can see like the green screen sort of?
With the other
Yeah,
powers.
Harry not so much, but definitely behind her. I think it's because of the screen, the window. It's minimal, but you can still kind of see it.
Sorry we're late, but I wasn't informed there was a meeting this morning.
Oh, do you see that look?
There don't seem to be enough chairs.
She is still looking at him. He is standing next to Cass, and she's looking at him like, oh, hello.
And I do know more about this region of space than any other member of the crew.
Because he did not live on that planet.
Here you are.
Oh, my thank you. Mm.
I've been thinking that you might be able to convert one of your lower decks into a hydroponics bay to grow your own food.
Which makes sense actually coming from her, because that's exactly what they were doing on her planet.
I can do some wonderful things with vegetables, Captain. My Farragoid goulash is known across 12 star systems.
Because he did live on the planet. Sorry. Last time I'll bring it up, I promise.
Just what job do you think she's suited for?
Chief engineer.
You're serious.
Very.
Regarding sickbay.
She doesn't look like,
Distance 20,000 kilometers up the port bow.
All stop!
My thinking is, why did nobody just do that? Maybe I should stop flying the ship at this point.
If I'm not mistaken, we're looking at a Type 4 quantum singularity.
What's funny is, at that age, I was like, oh, wow. No idea what that was.
It looks like it's being pulled in toward the singularity. We have to get it out of the event horizon.
Bridge to Torres. We need a way to get that ship out of there. Any ideas?
So look on Janeway's face like, you did not. Mutiny!
Mr. Paris, hold our position here.
Hi. You mean? Sorry.
I'd like to see you in private.
Awkward.
You don't understand, Commander. This isn't about Torres. My problem is with you.
You need to dye your hair.
How am I supposed to ask them to accept a Maquis as their superior officer just because circumstances have forced us together?
Well, see, executive orders have been working lately.
Permission to speak freely.
Go ahead.
I have no intention of being your token Maquis officer.
Oh.
B'Elanna Torres.
Who cannot control herself and who could not make it through the academy.
Again, I would love to see a spin-off or something, a backstory of B'Elanna going through Starfleet. Oh my God. Starfleet Academy? Woo!
I'm telling you, you're going to have to give them more authority if you want their loyalty.
I do want to know if they did any, like, did they darken his makeup because of his Indian heritage?
Computer, activate the emergency medical holographic system.
Please state the nature of the medical emergency.
I love how soft-spoken she is during this season. Very curious sounding.
The trivia of medicine is my domain now.
She just has, containers of dirt hanging out.
Doctor, has your program altered your appearance since I came to sick?
But she was looking at him the whole time. Like, how did you not see him shrink?
When I first came in, your head was at the same height as this cabinet. But now you look at least 10 centimeters shorter.
So I wonder if he is standing like on a lower platform or if she is up on something.
This is Kim. The holographic projector in here is malfunctioning. Would you send a repair crew down right away? We're a little busy right now. We'll get to it as soon as we can. It's just that I'm out.
And this is why you're still dancing.
Just turn off the program before you leave.
What's your name?
Schmullis. Dr. Schmullis. Or, what was it? Joe. His name is Joe. Joe Smullis. That's what we're going to go with. Joe Smullis.
The new relays on the power grid aren't holding.
We're being pulled toward the singularity.
I wonder if the set was on hydraulics or if they were acting on this. If so, they did a good job of acting.
So let me take it down to the floor. I'ma shake my booty so hard for y'all. Take your mind on a journey, leave you begging for more.
Move us to a safe distance, Mr. Paris.
Are we abandoning the rescue attempt?
No, but we are going to need some help.
Right now, astrometrics would be great. It's a shame that it took 3 more seasons for it to happen.
I just want you to know that I have personally gone over every emitter relay again and refitted 4 of them myself.
No one blames you for what happened. Commander Chakotay thinks very highly of you.
Their relationship, I love how their relationship progresses.
Ready to be chief engineer on a starship.
Well, I think I know my way around an engine room, if that's what you mean.
I want to see them scrap. Just go at it. On the holodeck. Oh, wait, they do that. Do they? Or is it just Captain 7?
There'd be a lot of hard feelings toward you from many of the Starfleet people.
I'm not bothered by what people think of me.
Clearly, that's exactly what you're bothered by.
You know, Captain, if we were in the vicinity of a quantum singularity, I should have been informed.
You're right. I'll look into linking your program into the ship's data.
She never does. They constantly have to tell him stuff.
Hello? Captain? Hello?
She didn't even turn off her monitor.
The captain says she wants you to attend the staff meeting this afternoon.
Oh, well.
I like that little, oh.
I'm the senior officer, and I speak for engineering. Try not to say anything unless someone asks you a question.
Oh, calm down. No one's questioning your masculinity, dude.
You should have broken more than his nose.
See? And that smile right there, it shows you already got backing.
And yet, when I examined each of them, I couldn't find anything wrong. I have no diagnosis, no prognosis, no recommended treatment.
I like how he's shrinking. His voice is changing, too. He's becoming more and more chipmunk sounding.
We were cruising along at Warp 7, then we pick up a distress call and moved in to investigate. But now, you're saying that the other ship is actually just...
But that distress call was never brought up. They were just cruising along and they hit this. So, this whole conversation is weird. I think it came from a different recording of this.
You'll need the best pilot you've got in that shuttle, Captain. That'll be me.
Writing for some of these one-liners, I'm glad it changed over time.
I respect Chakotay, but he's wrong. I'm not officer material, and we both know.
Does she actually refer to him with that pronunciation of his name throughout the whole series?
Don't you see? Voyager did move toward the rupture 20 minutes ago when we first discovered it. That's why the port ship is moving toward it now.
But it wasn't discussed that they were moving towards it.
If you're wrong, we're going to have a long time to debate it.
Well, if you're wrong, there won't be any debating. I love how thankful she looked like, oh, thank God I was right. One of my favorite lines from her.
They taught us to always remember that maneuvering a starship is a very delicate process. But over the years, I've learned that sometimes you just have to punch your way through.
Love it.
You've cleared the event horizon, Captain. We return to normal space.
What's funny is all this work, they were already discussing issues with power consumption. And here we are.
There they are, your staff.
I'll try not to break any of their noses.
If I had heard that, I'd be like, I get transfer.
Then maybe you need to go break a few noses. Or at least bend a few.
She has the best smile in the show, next to Janeway. She really does. Roxanne Dawson, I just absolutely adore her.
I hope that I can depend on you.
I assure you, you'll never get less than my best.
Which is so weird, like, to go from the way he had talked to her before to this, like, I'm glad he learned. I'm glad he learned that his mistake, but just weird.
If things had happened differently, and we were on the Maquis ship now instead of Voyager...
Where would you have sat? That's what I would have. Like, they all went to fit on that little itty-bitty-ass ship. Did you see it compared to Voyager?
I'm sorry, Lieutenant, but whatever it is, you're going to have to take care of it yourself.
Oh, it's all right. It's just a scratch, really.
What was he doing? And why did you go to the doctor? Do they not have Band-Aids? All right, guys, that was Season 1, Episode 2 of Star Trek Voyager. What are your thoughts? This is a great way to start, but for me, now looking back at these episodes, I'm like, come on, just get to the Borg. Get past this. But, I mean, there are some really killer episodes that are coming up. I do know that. This was a great way to see the crew first interact. I wish we got to see Tom and B'Elanna interact more on this episode to kind of really start the process with him, but instead you get this really weird dynamic between him and Kes first, which is fine. And like I said, there was some issues with the obvious editing there, because there was no distress call that they had picked up. They were traveling along at whatever warp and then hit it. So I'm not sure how that got in there. Like I said, I think there was a different storyline that was going to be for this. Maybe they were going to pick up a distress call and they, came in to see what was going on. But I think they wanted to focus more on, even if they avoided stuff in the Delta Quadrant, they were still going to run into problems. I think that was the point they wanted to get across here. But another point, I think, was the underlying tone. And this is what I like about Star Trek, is that how far it's based into the future, but they're still using current day issues. Like, here was a big thing was about race. It's not very specifically race, it's more being speciesist, because there's the issue with the Maquis and them being integrated into the community, how they view about B'Elanna, who is obviously this new person with different background than the rest of them. It's very clear, and the way that Chakotay simply addresses that I am not looking at being your token Maquis officer is very racially pointed. The specific term of token, yeah, there's definitely some race issues that were brought up in this. So right around 60 years ago, I think it was 61, I think we're coming up on 61 years, they abolished segregation. And this was already done like 30 years ago. It was only 30 years before this that segregation was abolished. So even though it wasn't a very big series, they were still taking some serious topics and putting it into the main storyline, which I absolutely love. The one thing I do wish about Voyager, was something you see more nowadays, is instead of the one-off episodes, you see more of an overarching story. And as you go, you do see more of that, but I wish it was more thoroughly planned. Kind of like Picard, the way Picard was. There was some one-off episodes where it kind of talked about certain things, but there was still that overarching storyline that they were working on. And this one does have it. I mean, they are trying to get home. Yeah, but I wish there was just more to it. Another thing I really like about this show is that the science isn't dumbed down. Now, mind you, most of it is just science jargon. A good chunk of it is probably not actual science, but they don't take that and break it down for everything. They did have a bit of the monologue in this one, but that doesn't happen all the time. And I actually like that. Now, mind you, we'll all sit back and go, yeah, we know exactly what they're talking about. They're talking about this, this, and this. But we have no idea. And I think that's what the best part about is it doesn't take its audience as being idiots. It's just meant to be fun. And I just love that. But that's my thoughts on it. That's my thoughts on episode 2. What did you guys think? Feel free to comment below. Let me know what your thoughts are on this episode and its views on race and incorporating new species into the crew, into different positions. What are your thoughts on that? Other than that, guys, I will see you in the next episode. And if you haven't seen episode 1, part 1, or part 2, you can check them both out here. And I will see you for episode 3. Have a good one and stay frozen.